Welcome to Friday Night Party Line for October 7th, 2016. Here on the show tonight, we have Skojo. Hey, Skojo.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Just got back from a vacation, which was in the Midwest, which is not a great place to go on a vacation.
Oh. What, did you not get to sample the many cheeses and dairy products?
That would be Wisconsin. I was in Indiana.
Oh, the bad part of the Midwest. Got it. All right.
Well, I mean, it wasn't so bad.
We've also got Churba. Hey, Churbs.
Hey.
Getting mighty bushy over there.
Well, yeah, it's my traditional pre-pax growth.
Yeah?
Just slowly grooming it so I can murder it later on.
And we've got Adam and Kate. Hey!
Hey, what's up? I really appreciate Churba cosplaying as the Australian Bush. Excellent cosplay, sir.
Well done.
Is this the first time
no,
you both...
you've got it wrong. I'm actually cosplaying as the Bush from Debbie Does Dallas.
Oh.
Is this the first time we've got Kate and Adam?
That movie, but not nearly that much.
No, Skoja, this is not the first time we've had Kate and Adam. So
No.
they've been both on the show before. Sometimes at two different computers, sometimes at one computer. You know.
We like to keep you guys on your toes.
Yeah, it varies.
We like to mix it up.
There you go. All right, so we have some catching up to do for this week because we didn't do the show last week, so we could get both of the debates in one show. We've got the debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, the first presidential debate, and we have the only debate between Tim Kaine?
You have already forgotten.
I know, right? I'm going to say Tim Kaine. Let me just test this here. Tim Kaine and Mike Pence, which was surprisingly interesting.
Hey, Victor, who's Mike Pence the governor of?
Indiana.
Shut up, Kate. I'm trying to get...
Gary, Indiana, Gary.
No, it's okay. I was gonna say Kentucky.
Where's Tim Kaine from?
I don't know.
Virginia.
Virginia, there it is.
I knew Kate knew these answers.
Because Kate is politically informed. So we've got those to talk about. Then we got all the different smattering of news stuff that's happened since the presidential debate. And if there was ever a wild guess to be put out, which would be perhaps the safest wild guess in the history, it'd be that most of this news is about Donald Trump saying things and things being unearthed about him. But let's start with the debates first. Trump had his ass handed to him.
Yes. I'm not sure if did you actually watch it live?
Yeah.
Because I was watching it live and I was live tweeting and I couldn't believe some of the stuff that he was saying on stage.
Oh yeah.
And some of the stuff that didn't even get talked about a lot at the beginning. Like people had to dig into it. Like when he mentioned the gangs, the roving gangs of immigrants who were shooting everybody, apparently. Then I still have never seen these gangs, but apparently they exist in his head. And they all have to be stripped of their guns using stop and frisk, which is, despite his arguing, unconstitutional.
Right.
Wait, roving gangs that just go around shooting people at random?
Yes.
Police?
No. Specifically, roving gangs of immigrants.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, there are some street gangs, which there are some street gangs in certain cities, but roving gangs of immigrants specifically, as if they are all over the country.
Right.
Yeah, we're just full of, like, I don't know, immigrants from Georgia who are arming themselves and shooting the populace.
Yeah, I mean,
suppose technically, if you're
damn those
not
Chechen immigrants! How dare they be poor and mostly orphaned from many wars?
Samantha Bee actually had a really great, was In Your Face with Samantha Bee is her show?
Full frontal.
Full frontal was the
Full frontal.
So
Full
she had a
frontal.
great bit on Maine, because apparently their death rate is outpacing their birth rate, and the economists, a lot of the economists there are saying that they need immigrants. And oh look, there are all these immigrants that we need, but of course their governor is a lunatic.
He's
What-
basically Trump prequel.
Yeah, Trump beta, I think she called it. Beta
Oh.
Trump.
He's a less polite Trump, if you can
There you
believe
go.
that.
Yeah.
Paul LePage.
Yeah, he stopped the immigration, even though he can't legally.
Anyway, back on topic of the
But
Yeah. For the debates, me and Rim and a bunch of other guys from the forum, we were all watching that debate and playing Overwatch at the same time.
like you
And
should.
yeah, and there was just I think it was that gent. He made basically called ahead of time a bunch of different stuff Trump was going to say. Of course, one of the first thing out of Trump's mouth was China.
huge China.
Huge
Well,
China.
I mean, that was part of that debate, is that
Um,
Trump didn't modulate his message at all off of what he
No.
does at his stump speech, which is actually the same stuff he's been doing since the primary. So you could pretty much just look at what Trump said there at one of those at one of his rallies and figure out what he was going to say in the debate.
Can I mention just for a moment that we've heard a lot about Trump's tone and the fact that he will pivot or somehow change, and it's clear now to even his supporters that he's not going to.
No.
But can I say that the problem with Trump is not his tone, it's his content. Someone can be poorly spoken and put together some incoherent nonsense in a crass form. But if what they're saying, if the content of their words makes sense, deliver clear policies, show respect for humanity, that's different than having someone who might be completely devoid of these things, but have the right tone. Ted Cruz, most of the Republican Party.
I mean,
Yeah.
and one of the biggest analyses that came out after the debate was well, first off, let's set this up. Trump fell into a gigantic neon sign indicated trap set by Hillary Clinton towards the end of the debate, which was the thing about oh jeez,
Which one?
the Miss America.
What's her name, Victor? What's
It's
her
been
name?
2 weeks. What do you want from me? The news cycle moves too fast. The Miss America contestant, whose name
Miss Universe. Miss Universe.
Miss Universe.
forgive me, Miss Universe contestant. Looking it up.
It's
Alicia
Alicia
Machado.
Machado.
There you go.
There you go. Alicia Machado. Hillary Clinton set this gigantic trap for him, and he fell right into it. But the analysis that came after the debate, which I think was really a spot-on look at this, was that he kept on springing that trap over and over throughout the course of the week by consistently bringing Alicia Machado back up, which shows that he is completely a slave to his impulses, because you got to know that every single advisor in his campaign was saying, don't talk about it, don't bring it up.
I don't think that he listens to the people in his campaign for more than
He
a few
clearly
minutes.
doesn't. He clearly doesn't.
And also, like, he has
Even
this
if they want to
complete
let
inability.
Trump.
Right,
Come on.
he can't let anything go. He has to be 100% right about everything every time, no matter what. So if the Machado thing comes up, he's going to say how right he was, not I'm sorry. Which, by the way, was something else that I thought Clinton did during the debate that I think she should get a medal for. She's the only candidate in any debate that I have ever seen that said I made a mistake, and I made a mistake, I was wrong, and then moved on, and that was it.
Mhm.
About the email thing, I thought that was brilliant. Yeah, I screwed up. Now we're moving on.
What
Well,
happened
and-
to the Republican Party being the one for personal responsibility?
About 15 years.
Yeah.
More than that. Really more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the
Yeah,
party
you
of
really-
personal responsibility when it comes to things like, deregulating business and things like that. But as soon as it comes up to things that are actually personal responsibility, they tend to get a lot more, hands-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to dealing with the Machado thing.
Mhm.
I find it really interesting that Trump could have handled this by saying, you know what, that was me in a very different role than the role I'm in today. As president, I wouldn't be dealing with the Miss Universe. I wouldn't be dealing with women's weight issues back then. It was part of the publicity for my new brand that I had purchased and lent my name to, the pageants that he's been doing, and that he said it was a rookie mistake. This was my first year, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, she wasn't the only one he did this to. That this isn't him owning up to being a cheesy, sleazy entertainer and businessman, well, so-called businessman. His only real business has been lending his name out, literally renting his name out to businesses. He has very few businesses himself that are in any way legitimate and not just lending housings to lend money to other so-called businesses that funnel back into his own accounts.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't get to lose $1 billion and call yourself a good business person.
No.
Didn't Hillary Clinton tweet out something like that? What kind of genius loses $1 million?
$1 billion, yeah.
Billion.
Almost a billion. No, on
with
top
a
of that,
B.
that was 2% of the total of that deduction for the entire United States that year.
God.
One person's deduction was
Jesus.
2%. Trump's failure.
Can we call him what he is, a welfare queen?
I'm gonna put an emphasis on Queen there, just because if he ever hears it, it'll get under his skin.
I'm sure he watches.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Wouldn't that be great if Trump tweeted out like at Victor Frost or at FNPL? Like, I have the greatest hair. You guys are losers. I'd be like, oh, I'm touched.
I'm insulted you call me a queen, but if I was a queen, I'd be the best queen.
I wouldn't be a fatty like that Miss Universe.
If he ever did tweet me, like, everything I responded to him would just be, well, fly down to Australia and fight me, bruv.
Get on that Trump jet.
So back to the debate. What I don't understand is that there are all these claims that Clinton is so scandalous and vulnerable and has done so many things pretty much single-handedly, they say, to cause the strife of the world and to deprive the middle class of any and everything that they're entitled to.
Mm-hmm. That's what they say.
Well, yeah.
Why did Trump not even attempt to bring up those issues? Why was it solely
Focus.
Benghazi emails Bill Clinton's penis?
No, here's
can't focus.
Yeah, he can't focus. He was unpracticed. He didn't like practice beforehand. So when you don't practice, you are not able to just pull up facts. I'm on this show right now talking about stuff I can't. Half the time, like 10 minutes later, I'm like, why didn't I say this? It's because we're not we didn't practice before. We're just shooting our mouth off. But we're all, like Trump's running for president, and he doesn't do the work to actually be an effective debater.
Does this lend credence to the theory that he doesn't actually want to win?
No, I think he actually wants to win. I just think he lacks the capacity to focus on it for any given amount of time. I mean, he basically had a practice run of the town hall that he's going to have on Sunday, and it was supposed to be 90 minutes long. He only did it for 30 minutes, and he had a 2-minute clock, which would be to help him replicate the settings that he's going to have to, the specifications he's going to have to go by on Sunday, and he regularly went over that 2 minutes. He lacks the focus to be able to sustain and know and pull out these facts.
There were a couple of...
So are you questioning his stamina?
Yes. I am
my God.
questioning his stamina. That is one way to put it. Yes.
That question went so horribly wrong for him.
Well, when you get laughed at by the audience who was instructed not to laugh, and not because you made a funny joke, but because they're like laughing at you, you know you made a mistake.
I really think Trump either doesn't want to win or he wants to win but be the guy who waves, at everyone and then has his administration do all the actual work.
Well, that's why he
got
Pence.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's more that he just doesn't really know how to win.
Maybe.
Because, he's just it seems like he's trying to approach it in the same way that he approaches, reality TV and marketing promotions and other similar things, without realizing that just getting your name in the headlines isn't really enough. In fact, with presidential races like this, quite often the candidate that has their name in the headlines the most is the candidate who is doing less well.
Yep. The old adage, there's no such thing as bad publicity, doesn't always apply in the realm of politics.
There was an analogy that I made after the debate. If you've ever been in class when you were a kid, and there was that one kid in class who needed to give an oral report with everybody else, and it's clear that he did everything the night before, and is trying to wing it, and is doing a poor job of it. That was Trump. Or the other analogy was there's a child who is clearly guilty of something and is trying to convince their mom that there is no way that they did that thing, and the mom is there going, nope. That was the other analogy.
Wait, hold on a second. In this analogy, was Lester Holt the mom or Hillary Clinton?
Take a pick.
I have to say, kudos to Lester Holt. I mean, he was doing... as best as he could, he was doing some fact-checking live on Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, both.
I think he didn't get Trump to shut up when he should have gotten Trump to shut up. Part of I found the debate so grating when Trump was talking because he would go on and go in a million different directions and not make a real point and just continue talking in circles until he felt like he was done. And I think Holt should have come in multiple times and just been like, Mr. Trump, you need to stop talking now. That's why if you saw the Saturday Night Live bit, it was brilliant because Clinton, the Clinton character is just like, no, he can keep going. It's fine.
He can have my 2 minutes.
Yeah, he can have it. Go. It's okay.
Well, I mean, the whether or not Lester could stop Donald Trump, I think, is outside of the point. I mean, one of the points that was brought up during the live discussion, which, hint, if you'd like to watch that live discussion of the debate while we play Overwatch, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. But one of the things that came up was Lester probably has no capacity to, for example, mute anyone's mic. Because
no, he doesn't. He doesn't have any control over the audio visual anything.
No, but and the people who are running the audio probably have specific instructions. You cannot cut anyone's mic. So.
Yep.
And even if they would have cut his mic, you would have had the trumpets screaming about bias and whatnot.
No, it would have been funny. It would have been even funnier than that, Adam. He'd be sitting there in the split screen and be like, and you would only hear him slightly through the other mic.
The echo in the other mic.
Yeah. He was really trying hard though at least in the beginning. He was really trying hard to keep himself composed. And
right, but he couldn't. He didn't have the stamina, like you said. He doesn't have the stamina, and all he could focus on was the one thing that matters to him, which is money. Which is why the first thing they talked about, if I recall correctly, was the economy and economic issues, and why he tried to jump all over her with that. But he couldn't make a coherent point other than, I'm really good at business, I'm the best, I'm great, she sucks, vote for me. That was it. That was his entire argument. There was no policy, there was no no real policy. He
Well,
laid out these general.
Part of the
ideas.
problem is that because he's not familiar with the specifics, because based on everything he's ever done at rallies or in press interviews or at the first debate, he doesn't seem to be at all familiar with the specifics, so he can't discuss them. Unlike Hillary Clinton, who is very familiar with the specifics and can discuss them. Although one thing I will say about Hillary, that trumped up trickle down thing was funny though it was, very clearly forced and just it was like one of those little zingers that she has like a Hillary Clinton Terminator vision. She has a list of zingers to use, and that was one of them.
Can I just say that I give credit to people who prepare? I mean,
No. I mean, obviously, it's great, but it's just, it was so clearly there was not. I felt like she had a lot of zingers during the debate that
she's not a comedian. I mean, honestly, I think the fact that she was so prepared and had some zingers is in her favor. She prepares adequately for the things that she's about to do.
Well,
that's not a bad thing, and to me, that's not force. That's just a politician not being an entertainer. Unlike someone who is a personality, and that
Not
personality is entertaining in the abstract Jersey Shore, it's a train wreck, you can't look away kind of thing that you have on Trump's side, versus someone who is an actual politician, a real mind at work, who doesn't have the best delivery for a written line.
I will say this though. I think that her line about what else I prepared for, being president. I don't think that was. I think that was. Both. It was funny. Like me and Nelson were both tweeting at each other, and we both went, "Oh my god! Drop the mic!" Like at the same time. It was really great.
I mean, I mean, it's hard with the group of us to get an unbiased look at this debate. I don't think one can look at this debate and not be biased in a certain manner because they just have judgment. I mean, but I want to say here and now, neither Hillary Clinton nor Sanders are my perfect candidates. Neither of them.
Yeah.
But who in their right mind is going to risk a Trump presidency?
But
that's what this debate underscores for me.
But here's the thing. People are looking at a Trump presidency, some people, and saying, that's my guy.
Those people are crazy.
Based on what?
Those people are crazy or stupid. There's no other explanation that I can find. Every person that I've been listening to this NPR series. That's I think it's Divided We Stand.
Yeah.
And they interview two people in various states, usually one from each side, and talk about why they're voting for the person they're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
So every time they have somebody who supports Trump on, the opinions that they espouse are so grossly ignorant or completely biased or that sort of subtle racist that they don't come out and use the N-word or anything like that, but It's clear that they are racist against certain people. And it's been like that for literally every single person in every interview. And I can't tell if they're just not paying attention to what's going on or what, but it's the strangest it's the strangest collection of the mentally ill I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Considering that I know some Trump supporters and not just my dad, I think there's a large amount of Trump supporters, a stepmother-in-law that I have, who are really conservative. They have nowhere else to go, and they're just. I mean, at this point, they're really man, I have to do something. I guess I'll vote for Trump so I can get the Supreme Court nominations that he may put in. And so, I mean, you don't have to say it's all that. It's probably if you're a social conservative, you're going to hope that maybe Trump just either gets tossed off the ticket and Pence becomes president, which, holy crap, right? Or you hope that Trump stays there and Pence does all the real work on that and Trump just signs everything to the Republican Congress that would be there if he wins. would be able to put forward, and he would just rubber stamp it because he wouldn't care, right? I mean, even if he, I don't even think Trump is pro-life or has any real care on any of the social issues, but he would just rubber stamp whatever came in front of him so he could say, like, this is Trump's law. Ha, ha, ha.
You probably want gold ink and a rubber stamp that said Trump.
It's the Trump house.
So speaking of rubber stamps, you want to go to the vice presidential debate?
Surprisingly entertaining. I did not expect the two of them to be kind of yelling at each other as much as they did.
Which was kind of frustrating, honestly.
Yeah, a little bit.
The other thing that I thought was hilarious was how the GOP accidentally released the results
so good.
before anything came out. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, 90 minutes ahead of the debate, they declared that Pence won and Hillary lost. Even though Hillary...
That's not the worst part because, they need to preemptively get all the graphics together. The fact that it had the debate analysis attached to it already is the problem. Yeah. That was the main problem. When you have a bunch of people saying, well, the people decided that Clinton was, stupid on the economy, and this person said that, her Benghazi emails are the important part of this election. Like... Like that's the worst part. I mean, just having the graphics. I mean, people have. I mean, all the news sites have obituaries for everybody they think is going to die, just so they can get them up really quick. I mean, I would figure anybody would have the website saying that their team won the debate, like already made. It's just that you don't really want it to have the analysis for the debate already on there.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is how after the debate there were news organizations like LA Times. I'm looking at you because I'm sure you watch this, but the LA Times came out with this analysis saying that Pence won because he won on style.
Yeah,
and
that was the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah, I have a lot of issue with anybody in the media who says, "Oh well, he won because he was able to keep his composure the whole time." Why are we rewarding somebody lying through their teeth for 90 minutes? There's literally stuff from that same week that he was like, nope, never happened, but it was still there. Like, it's like I made a tweet. It's like saying with a straight face that the sky is plaid, and insisting on that, and then the media saying, well, because he was honest about what he said, even though he's wrong, we're going to give him points for that. No, he lied the whole time.
No, that's a bad analogy. A better analogy would be he had nicer hair and a nicer suit while he was saying those lies. So we're going to say he won. That's a better analogy. That's style.
The most frustrating thing to me about the LA Times analysis was that they did a really good analysis of the previous debate. It almost feels like they just kind of phoned this one in.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely felt that way.
Well, I mean, look at all of the it wasn't just the LA Times. Everybody said that. And you know what? Watching the debate, if you just took it on how they looked and sounded, Pence sounded good. But he wasn't. The problem is the point of that debate for the Clinton team was not to have Tim Kaine look good. It was for Tim Kaine to get Pence to defend every single thing that Trump says so they can make an ad about it later. So
which they did perfectly.
Which is what they did.
He didn't even defend it. He didn't defend it. He denied it. There's a difference between mounting a defense. Yes, he said this about Muslims. If you actually look at the policy, he was saying blah blah blah. He wasn't. It came across as meaning this, but really, if you look at the paperwork, it's this. He didn't say that. He said. He never said that.
He was like, no, I never said that. He didn't mean that.
I mean, but that's even better. You don't understand. That's even better for the ad because they can have an ad where Pence goes, he never said that. And then they just show a clip of Trump saying it. And that's what they did. And that is why while Pence, right after the debate, everybody said Pence did a really good job. He didn't. Well, I mean, comparative to Trump, Pence did a really good job, right? So he had a low bar to cross anyway. But a day later, were we talking about how great of a job Pence did? No, we were talking about the live video that shows Kaine asking Pence if he agreed with what Trump said, and Pence saying he didn't say that, and then they show a picture of Trump. It worked. It was great.
Two observations. One, this entire campaign, the Clinton campaign, has been basically planning 3 steps ahead of everyone else. The other thing is that I've had a bit of an epiphany, and I've realized how it can look like Pence won, quote unquote, the debate. And that is, if you consider the debate as if you were a person that did not speak English, and you're just looking and seeing how these two people are acting and looking, it will definitely look like Pence was the much better candidate than Kane. But that's only if you have no understanding of what they're saying.
If you have no understanding of English or US politics, then why are you watching the vice presidential debate in the first place?
By accident. You turned on your
No,
chat,
but
turned on
the
channel,
point I'm
and it was
making is
something
that
on.
the point I'm making is that any illusion that Pence did this, that Pence won the debate, can only be founded in a lack of understanding of the issues, or to appeal to people who have that lack of understanding of the issues.
Now, I have a question. For these 2 debates, if you gender swapped everyone, so Hillary Clinton male,
You'd have the greatest fan
Everyone-
fiction ever.
everyone else female, I don't think these outcomes would have been the same. I think that Trump, instead of having some supporters rally around him and say, look at this plain-spoken man, they'd say, look at this bimbo. Look at this outrageous, hateful bimbo.
We had that last year, or in 2008.
Yeah, was it Sarah Palin or Michelle Bachmann, or was it?
No, we had
both?
Sarah Palin, who was in the
Sarah
vice
Palin.
president debate against Biden.
Michelle Bachmann was as bad, though.
But that was not the presidential debate. That was the vice presidential debate.
Yeah, I know, but that would be the.
And then you come along, let's say you had female Kane, female Pence. Pence being slightly more physically attractive, but Pence denying reality. And then Kane being slightly less physically attractive and having a cogent, if somewhat dry, performance, and the other one talking over them. It would have been, listen to this cat fight.
Yep.
One's boring and ugly, and the other one's a ditz. No one would have respected either of these candidates, I really feel.
No,
So
I mean,
have a question.
Yes.
Why is it that Pence, in particular, can get away with this level of denial of reality just because he has a penis?
Penises
I'm
are pretty
sorry.
great.
Well, it is the vice presidential debate. It's probably because nobody was actually watching. I'm not even sure the moderator was fucking watching.
There was a great moment. There was a great moment during the vice president debate where the moderator was like, "Guys, the question was on North Korea,"
Yeah.
because they were so far afield. But to your point, I
Yeah.
think Pence was good at doing what he did, lying with a straight face and looking great at it, because he was a talk show radio host in the past. He's used to getting up there, listening to somebody like attack him on the radio, and pretty much just be like, say whatever line he wants. I don't think the gender on the vice president debate would change anything, because Pence of being a radio host, which I think is what really helped him in that debate. Tim Kaine doesn't have that
disagree.
experience.
Hang
That
on, no,
plus having
I
a
disagree.
pretty thick... Go
Skojo,
ahead, Victor.
I gotta disagree with you on there. I think Kate actually hit the nail pretty squarely on the head. I mean, if they were both women, they would be exactly those kinds of headlines. It wouldn't be CNN going, wow, that was a really rowdy debate. It would be, wow, look at that cat fight. It would be exactly as Kate said. And I think that there. I mean, clearly there is a big sexism issue in the realm of politics. Now, hopefully Hillary Clinton winning the presidential office will do some to erode that. But I don't think it's even going to do. I don't think it's going to completely solve the problem. And I think there would be a gigantic difference if as Kate said, all the genders were reversed in this election year.
Well, if the genders were reversed, I have to be honest, if you had someone that incompetent and female, I don't think the American public would swallow it.
Well,
Well,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
That's why
I
they
mean,
wouldn't be
for
on the
Trump
stage.
specifically.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
they wouldn't even
why
be on the
it's kind
stage
of
if that was the case.
no, it would be you'd end up with Ted Cruz against Hillary Clinton. Oh,
One of the things that
Hillard
I was
Clinton.
talking about with my dad
Bill.
was how we both wanted to see Clinton sort of go after Trump a little bit more fiercely, but we were then talking about how it's a shame that if she does that, then you're going to get the alt-right media saying, oh, or even most of the media being like, oh, what a bitch she is, or she's so aggressive, and so, oh, we can't have her. But if she was a guy, if it was a Bill Clinton, going after the same kind of candidate for the same kind of reasons, really digging in and attacking them, it wouldn't be an issue. And I think that makes it that much harder for her in the debates, is because she can't alienate those people who would see her attacking him, even if it was something that was so obvious, like, "Hey, Trump, how about those vaginas that you were grabbing when you weren't supposed to?" Like, even if it was something like that, you can't attack him on that too hard because she'll look bad, which is a shame.
I hope you're not going where I think you're going, Vic, but carry on.
Honestly, though, she doesn't need to because everyone else is going to.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my thing. I really it's hard to say what would be the better action, and even if it wasn't Hillary Clinton and it was Bernie Sanders, or some other male politician running. I mean, Trump is such a unique case to debate against that most people would be advised to just sit back and let him destroy himself, while you just kind of like stick it out there a little bit and then you just reel it in.
Well, then I think it's kind of time to ask this question again, because I've asked you guys this question throughout the course of this election season. Is Trump still a Teflon man? Does the different controversies and the scandals, are they now sticking to him?
I would say half yes and half no, because you not only have all of these traditionally Republican newspapers endorsing Hillary Clinton, but on top of that, you have other Republicans who are relying on Republican Party money for their own races, coming out and saying, I'm not supporting Donald Trump. I can't in good conscience, support Donald Trump. You have leadership, and you have established leadership in the Republican Party saying absolutely not. Now, here's the problem. Trump supporters have no respect for said leadership, and that's part of why Trump is appealing to them. So I think he's alienating more moderate Republicans, as he always has. I think he's endearing himself even more to the Trumpsters and the Trumpettes because, I don't know, they were born without brains. I don't understand.
And if you do encounter someone who is like a moderate Republican who doesn't want to vote for Hillary, you should probably push them to vote Gary Johnson instead, because he gives them pretty much everything they want except for a chance at victory or recognition.
Or any foreign policy knowledge whatsoever.
Whenever I get into it,
what Aleppo is, or the names of any world leaders.
He couldn't name the leader of North Korea.
Seriously, like, the dude's policy platform is basically supports private prisons, opposes climate change, supports unlimited corporate political donations, supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership, opposes national health care, 0% corporate tax, get rid of the minimum wage, opposes gun regulations, and supports deregulating banks even more. How is that not just like 4 years ago the Republican platform?
Hey, that is a perfect Bernie Sanders surrogate right there.
Oh,
Don't even get me started on some of those people. Christ.
I recently got into a Facebook argument. I shouldn't have, but I had to. When it was my cousin actually brought up the point, why would you waste your vote on a candidate who can't win rather than using it to at least deflect Donald Trump? And the arguments that were made were basically, I cast my vote for said third-party candidate, and it goes toward that third-party candidate that vote happens in a vacuum, there's no other consequences.
That's not true.
Exactly. And I brought up actual data from various resources supporting that Nader really was a deciding factor in Bush versus Gore, that these votes, you know, a 5% margin, a 6% margin can mean that we're going to be stuck with Trump. And for my fellow Americans not to see that that is the disaster rather than the Hillary Clinton presidency, which, again, not my favorite candidate, but neither was Bernie Sanders because he had his budget didn't make sense. His foreign policy was a mess. I prefer the pragmatism of Hillary Clinton in certain areas and the idealism of Bernie Sanders in certain areas, which is one of the reasons why, of course, I want Elizabeth Warren to be the candidate. But that's not the reality I'm faced with.
Yeah.
So instead of chasing this fantasy, this ideal, I'm voting for what I think will best protect our entire nation's interests. And to throw one's vote away is the saddest thing to me when you are facing Donald Trump. If this was, even Romney, and I'm no Romney fan, but even if it was Mitt Romney, I couldn't be as impassioned about this as I am.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Trump. And Pence, who single-handedly is responsible for an HIV outbreak because he couldn't allow women to have reproductive rights.
I mean, a lot of the issue for, and I know a few people who were who are Republicans, because let's be honest, what the Republican Party has morphed into is some sort of Tea Party hellspawn. Yeah. I have Republican friends who will not vote for Trump because they see how reprehensible he is. But at the same time, they cannot find it within themselves for whatever reason to vote for Hillary. And they're saying, well, I'm going to vote for Gary Johnson. It's not going to make any difference. And the thought that would be the case is, I mean, forget the studies that show, like Ralph Nader, as you said, Kate, it's a fundamental lack of understanding of basic math. Elections are a zero-sum game. Every vote is either towards one person or another, and who you vote for affects the status of everyone else. There's a lot of issue with optics in this election.
I think that this is an even bigger issue. So Trump is a nightmare, but I think the scarier thing here is that the number of people that support him and the reasons why they do are even scarier, because after Trump is gone, win or lose, and let's face it, it's probably going to be a lose. But those people are still going to be around. Yeah. And it's not like it's just old white people. There are a shocking number of young people who support them. In fact, there was an article recently I want to say it was either New York Times or it was one of the big newspapers, where they were talking about how millennials are now realizing what anti-Semitism is and what racism really looks like, because people who are like in their 30s, like me, if you're like me, then you learned in school, like, oh, racism is dead, we won, civil rights, yay, there's no problem anymore. And anti-Semitism was this thing that the Nazis did in Germany and the Russians did in the 1930s, and nobody does that anymore because we're all smarter than that. And seeing this surge of insane hatred of other and the picking up this discarded mantle of, like, it's okay to be racist and it's okay to call people like kike and Jew and using the N-word and the anti-immigration, all this stuff that we've seen before is the thing that worries me even more, because I teach in inner city school, right? I teach in Rochester City School now, and I've seen the kids there. They are definitely affected by not just things like Black Lives Matter, but they see what's going on, and they're getting concerned too. They're like, what's going to happen to my family because we immigrated from Kenya and we're still getting vetted, or what's going to happen if they decide that all immigrants have to go out? My family immigrated, what's going to happen to me? And so like there's this tension that's building, and I keep seeing things like, oh well, if Hillary wins, we're going to have to do something. It's going to have to be a revolution, which I think we all know will happen about as well as it did when Obama got elected. But it's just interesting to see. It's a little frightening to me to see that level of flagrant, abject racism just bubbling to the surface and taking root in the Republican Party, and also for them to deny that it's happening. There's also this level of denial where they're like, no, they're just passionate. We're just trying to apply to our base. You know what I mean?
All right. I think we're gonna. We don't have. We probably have about another 15 or so minutes left in the show. I think we can. I think I'm gonna move us along from all that.
So let's talk about how racism is now in VR.
Oh, we can do that next week, Trevor. I do kind of want to stay on politics, but not. We're gonna move off of the debates and. That mess.
And talk about quote unquote
taxes.
pussy grabbing.
Oh wait, no, we're not going to pussy grabbing apparently.
Well, we'll get there because I don't think it's going to take too long to talk about taxes.
For kids listening, she's talking about cats.
I don't know. We can probably do at least 15 minutes just purely on the mechanics thereof. Like, what is the best way? Do you like go for the outer labia, or is it just like, or are you just hooking in like a bowling ball?
As I posited before in our pre-show conversation, do you just hook the outer labia? Do you like get on in there with a few fingers?
Like a
What are you
ball,
doing?
right? Like a bowling ball?
Bowling
Do you
ball.
cup? Because I mean, that's an easy maneuver to get out of.
I'm thinking cup with a slight pressure with the two middle fingers right on the perineum there.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
Hey,
taxes.
I might run for office one day.
Taxes. So for the longest time, one of the big contentions in this campaign was that Donald Trump has yet to release his taxes. Well, turns out someone got impatient, and the New York Times received a copy of 3 pages from his taxes. One for his New York State personal filing, one from, I believe, his Connecticut personal filing, and one from his the New Jersey personal filing. The first pages of each. New York Times took a month to verify it to make sure all their duckies were in a row. And turns out, yes, they are legit. Who did they ask? Trump's old accountant. Now, these are tax filings from 1995, if my memory is serving me correctly.
Yes.
And apparently, in 1 year, Trump, Mr. Genius businessman, lost $1 billion.
Nearly.
What?
And can we point out that this was well before our economic downturn?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, wait, it's even funnier than that. The value that he lost was not able to be handled by the tax program of that time. And they had to go back with a typewriter and put the 9 and the 1 in front of every single number where they had the 91,
916 million dollars.
Yeah, they had to put the 9 and the 1 manually on every sheet because the program wouldn't print out that big of a digit.
Goodness gracious.
And that's how they confirmed that it was real, too, because the accountant went, look, see these marks here? The reason these 9 and 1 are off is because my printer couldn't handle the digit number.
Well, actually, what's his name? Did you see that Trump posted a photo about like, oh yeah, here's me signing off on my tax sheet, and there's this huge pile of paper next to him. Someone actually like zoomed in and looked at it and compared it to other things and figured out that's actually like the TurboTax e-submission form. So He printed out the electronic filing form and signed it for some reason.
So he
Trump does not understand how to file his own taxes. Yeah, he's just signing one random page, and that page is like the submission page for like the e-submit for TurboTax or a service very much like it. I can't remember if it's TurboTax specifically.
Well, that was the funny part. When people were presented with this knowledge, everybody, all the surrogates were like, well, he's a genius. This is why he's able to do this. And the accountant went forward and said, he didn't really take much interest in the taxes. He paid me to do it. I'm the genius.
Yeah, like that's why he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm smart, I'm smart." But he didn't. I know he didn't do his personal taxes. There's no way. He doesn't do anything himself except walk into meetings and yell at people and then walk out.
And tweet at 3 a.m.
Yeah, and tweet at 3 a.m. and maybe grab a couple of vaginas on his way out.
Hey, he'll be there to answer the call.
Don't make it sound like a fucking late night snack, for Christ's sake. Oh, what are you going to do after work? Oh, I don't know. I'm probably just going to grab a couple of vaginas and then head home.
Grab a couple of vaginas, sit on my golden throne, tweet with my phone and tweet a bit on the tweeter.
Oh, good God.
Oh, my gosh. Every time
How did it come to this?
Yeah, every time I think we've hit a new low, something else comes out, and I get to see people defend it, and then I kind of wonder where it's gone.
Kate, hold on, Triba. Kate, go.
All right. So first I want to say that Trump's statements about women have consistently been appalling. And because of that, I am not at all surprised that he said, and I quote, that he tried to fuck her, meaning a married woman. She was married, and I moved very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. Then all of a sudden I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful women. I start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. Stop. Wait. The woman is speaking. And I don't mean to be rude, but the woman.
I was just breathing.
Not you, him.
You know what the creepiest? I have to say the creepiest part of that video is when they exit the bus and they meet the female co-host, and Bush, the other guy, is like, "Hey, don't you want to hug Trump?" And it's just like they've just been talking about the most like vile stuff, and he's like, "Here, why don't you hug my Trump over here?"
Oh,
just like,
rub up against his boner, bitch.
like,
That's what I hear.
Yeah,
Why
that's
don't you
literally
hug
that's
my
what
Trump?
I heard too. I was like, "What the?"
That
F
was
is
a
this
hell of
shit?
a phrase.
That's like a creepy drunk frat boy thing to do, and it's
Beyond that, beyond how much this plays into a horrible rape culture, beyond the good old boy, let's objectify women, let's turn them into parts, let's pretend that we can do anything and everything we want to them because they're not really human. I want to go past that. I've already read articles that are both RNC representatives as well as, and this is a so-called advisor to Trump, saying that this is vile, this is disgusting. He's saying this about our wives, about our daughters. Well, hold up there, hun. Regardless of me being in any kind of relationship with a man, regardless of my tie to my father or my husband, or if I had a brother, my brother, I deserve not to be spoken to this way, not because I am tied to a man.
yeah.
But because I am a person. He is talking about people. Remove the word pussy and put in dick. Would we have this conversation? Would he be a serious candidate for presidency.
No, but
Okay,
the
well, I think
conversation
at that
would be way
point you
funnier.
have a little
I
bit
know
of a
that you want to make
situation.
light of this, but this
Well,
is
no,
a
no, no.
big issue.
No,
I mean,
it's not an issue. It's not an issue to make light of. But I think your particular example it creates a slightly different situation, because then what you'd have would be a quote that would then bring on the ire of the anti-LGBT community, as opposed to bringing the favor of sexists and the
I mean,
ire
out
of
of the
people
mouth
who have
of-
basic respect for women.
But out of the mouth of a woman, out of the mouth of, say, Hillary Clinton,
Ugh, yeah, forget it.
Oh my god.
Ugh,
this is
Gone.
what
people
I'm
would not be
saying.
happy.
If it was rape and jokes about rape and bragging about what amounts to rape, about doing these things to a man, this man would be done.
Yep.
I don't think this will in any way affect his numbers. Maybe minimally.
Well, I
I
disagree.
don't know about his numbers, but CNN just published an article saying that Speaker Ryan said that he was sickened by Trump's comments and announced the Friday night that the GOP presidential nominee would no longer attend a Republican event in Wisconsin, at which the two were slated to appear on Saturday. So, in that,
So this is the same Governor Ryan who was in support of people making comments stating that there were different kinds of rape, and that if it was the right kind of rape, that the woman's body would automatically reject a baby.
No,
That's
that wasn't.
Speaker Ryan?
But he
Wait,
said
no.
shut that down, I think.
That wasn't Paul Ryan, to my knowledge.
No, but
That
he
was-
supports those same people.
Oh no, he was the one with legitimate rape.
No,
Yeah.
no,
that's
Legitimate rape.
no, legitimate rate.
legitimate.
Yeah.
This part is this. Why are they pretending that they're not?
And what, like,
Aiken was-
like I said earlier, what's worse is
Can
that
we
there are
have the
people
Bull
who-
Moose party back again?
Well, there are people who support this party and recognize what they're doing and think that it's good. And that's the scarier part. There are people who like rape jokes, fine. Guy grabs a woman, hey, he's just a tough guy. Like, he's like me. I like to be a tough guy. I like to tell women what to do. They should be in the kitchen, whatever. Like, that mentality that exists within a significant part of our population is the bigger problem. And I don't even know how to address that.
Well, I have 2 points here to make, and I'm sorry for stealing this conversation. I want to hear what Scott, Interba, and Victor have to say.
No,
But-
go on, that's fine.
No, go on. We love it.
Yeah.
This man has consistently said hideous things about women. I don't know why we're surprised about this. I mean, I don't want to know if he ever has to meet Angela Merkel
Oh my God.
what he's going to say about her looks, because she isn't a model.
He'll
I don't
probably
think
call
she's
her a Nazi.
hideous woman by any means, but she's not a model. And apparently that's his standard of beauty. If you're not traditionally beautiful in what American media has defined as beautiful, then you are a target for him and you are not a person.
Yep.
But this level of bravado, and for anyone to say that this is like the best excuse you can make of this is this is just a man trying to push forth his image of being this ladies' man. Well, if someone thinks that's a good thing and helps their image, even if none of it's true, is that who you want as president?
No,
Is
I mean,
that who you want as president?
right, yeah, and that is a big portion of this. Half of politics is optics. And me and my dad got in a bit of a heated discussion recently. And I said that, as an example, another example of that, I said that, look, Donald Trump has the support of the KKK. If you are a good person, if you are a person that understands, how people perceive things matter, and you are a person of sound moral character, if you have the support of the KKK, shouldn't that at least give you a moment of pause? I mean, and the fact that he's saying this, even as you said, even if it is just an act, that speaks more to what he's willing to do to garner support.
I just had a little bit of an epiphany.
Oh.
So I've had the same discussion about another person, about even if they know what they're doing is just for attention, then they've got to be a horrible person because they're either ignoring the fact that what they are doing is horrible, or they are actually like that. And it was Ann Coulter. Think about it. She is literally the female Donald Trump, except without the wealth and recognition of name. But she says the same kinds of horrible things that he does, like the same, if not worse. And she said the same kinds of things about women. She made comments about the 9/11 responders' wives. Like, she said the same kinds of horrible. And I remember I'm not sure if I had the discussion with you, but definitely with Kate, this same discussion of they actually believe this and they're a terrible person, or they're faking it, but that still makes them a terrible person. Yeah. Because they're willing to use that kind of language and that kind of incendiary statements to get attention.
And more than getting attention, to put that in the minds of others as being acceptable and promoting such ideas with others.
So, I feel like every time we have a politics episode, I get a little depressed.
Well, hey, you know what, B? You should be pretty happy. We're most likely going to have the first female president.
Yes, but there is
in like a month.
Assuming that enough people vote for Hillary.
So here is
get out the vote, and they can't just be for Stein, who was essentially a town board member.
Here's my argument of why this will actually hurt Trump. So before I was talking about how there's a bunch of evangelical and like social conservatives that really like that he picked Pence because they figure that Pence will actually run stuff. So they look over a lot of the problems that Trump has. The problem is if they constantly are bombarded with stuff that, is abhorrent, they will at some point decide it's not worth voting, and they will stay home. And there are women and men who, when they see these words or hear them, it sets off paths of having abusive relationships. So, and those people will move away from Trump, even if they lean conservative. And I know you're saying, well, why haven't they already? Well, there's so much going on with, all of us pay attention to the news, but a lot of people just see maybe like a few minutes a week or whatever. And if it's a big enough story, it'll get through to them. And if it sticks, it will cause people to stop voting for Trump. Now, they might still go and vote for like the Senate candidates, but I have a feeling that you're going to see a change in the polls.
I hope so. I hope so.
I mean, enough people were watching. One of the things I forgot to mention about the first debate, the presidential debate, was I had people saying like watching Trump argue with Hillary Clinton was setting off like, PTSD of like traumatic relationships they had. Just the way he talked to her was just setting some people off. So, I mean, yeah, wrong. Oh.
Victor, I will choke you. Don't do that.
Well, we can't forget that this is the same man who has made comments about a teenage Paris Hilton, who is a friend of his daughter, and how much he wanted to have sex with her when she was 16.
But not as much as he wants to have sex with his own daughter, apparently.
And actually has been accused of having had sexual relations with a model or actress or escort who's underage.
That story, I hope that gets dug into more. I don't want to believe one way or the other. I think that there's still a lot of information that's missing from that. So far it's just like it's some accusations and several people are making it. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if it was true because he is one of the scummiest people that I have ever witnessed in my life. But people are asking, well, why isn't that getting more attention? And I just think that there's not enough evidence yet. I hope that they get it sorted so that it turns into something that's real.
Or hopefully isn't. I mean, honestly,
hopefully isn't, yeah.
I honestly hope that isn't real because as much as I hate Trump,
yeah,
I hope that there wasn't yet another female victim of male sexual abuse.
Look, guys, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a blowout right now. I mean, if nothing, just the polls that were released today, which don't even take into account the fact that we're not even talking about the fact that Vladimir Putin went in front of the UN and defended Trump from criticism. We're not talking about the fact that the U.S. just accused Russia of interfering with an election. We're not talking about there was some other story about Trump that didn't even, it's not even registering because we aren't even, all this stuff just overpowers.
There's too much to catch up on.
Or the supposed leak of Hillary Clinton's speeches to Wall Street.
Yeah,
So-called.
and even the point is reading those speeches, they're generally showing her as a pragmatic deal maker.
Yeah,
it's like here's the
Trying
thing,
to
I don't
spin it.
understand.
Same thing with the leak of the recording of that the comment she made about Bernie Sanders.
Oh, well, they only took half the quote, and they didn't even go with the fact that she was empathizing with those people.
Yeah. What about can someone explain to me why anybody would think that her speeches getting released that were already given to the public at one point, why would that be a big deal? I don't understand. It's we've got these things that you said in public that were, speeches. I don't get it.
They're hoping they can get some gotchas on her or something. But if there's anything you can say about Hillary Clinton, is that she's pretty consistent. So, what kind of gotcha did they think they were gonna get?
I think it was funny that Assange released. He was like, "We're gonna release this big secret. It's a big secret," and everyone was up at 4 a.m. and he was like, "Buy my book. No secret today." And then the secret ends up being a big secret. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who's taking...
sorry, Kate. There has been a new release from WikiLeaks I think it was either today or very late yesterday. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's got Hillary Clinton's... or extracts from Hillary Clinton's speeches that she said in front of Wall Street people and all this. And I've had a quick read through of it, and just like the last leak, it's completely innocuous. It's
that's what we were saying. I read through it as well, and it's funny. It's not even the full speeches; it's so-called excerpts of her speeches inserted into a WikiLeaks email. So, even if they're true, I've got to say, I don't care. If we're talking about a woman who is a moderate Democrat, with a history of being a moderate Democrat, whose only flip-flops have ever been on issues where she voted the way that the majority of her constituency wanted her to vote, i.e. Iraq, Afghanistan, gay marriage. Those stances reflected her constituency at the time, the majority of her constituency at the time. And now has changed her mind on those issues. If that's the worst you can say about her, our other major candidate talks about raping women.
Yeah.
And saying that he can get away with it because of his wealth and power. His wealth is even in question.
It's like we got Hermione Granger going up against Draco Malfoy here.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say that you have a girl from Slytherin versus Draco Malfoy. The girl from Slytherin may not be the person that you love. And I'm not saying I think she is this person. I'm just saying if you frame it in that way. Let's say she is the lesser of two evils, which, again, I don't agree with. She's so significantly lesser that I don't understand why there's even a question of debate at this point.
What was who tweeted about the food? It's like going onto an airplane and they offer you some chicken dish and literally a pile of poop with glass in it, and then asking the question, so how's the chicken cooked?
That was David Sedaris.
That was David Sedaris? That was hilarious. That was literally, that is exactly what's going on. It's if you have to think about that choice, then I question your ability to think.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, we have gone on for a long time about this, and doubtless there is a lot to say about the current election, but we're going to have to put that off until another time. In the meanwhile, thank you to Scott Johnson, Churba, Kate, and Adam. Thank you all. You've been fantastic as giving lots of provocative and important things to think about. And on that note, this has been Friday Night Party Line. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.